Okay, hey guys, today I'll be telling you how to budget your money. It's pretty simple. I honestly have problems doing this because there are a lot of things I want to get, and then there's certain things that, that I should get, but I sacrifice those things that I should for the things I want. But, for the future for you guys, I know most of you guys are going to college. I'm personally not doing that, but well, I am, but it's just through a different route through the military. But anyways, this video is about budgeting. Just have some self-control and you're pretty much fine. That's like the general rule of thumb. Okay, so Americans in the US usually they just do the 50-30-20 rule where the 50 is like the shit you actually like need or else you'll die. So I'm talking like obviously car payment, groceries, rent and mortgages, utilities. Now, most of you guys, if you're coming out of high school or college, you probably don't have to worry about your car payment or mortgages because you guys probably don't have a house yet or you guys are living at home. For the most part, the shit that you need to survive, like actually like not die and be homeless, that's like fixed expenses. So that should be 50% of your after-tax paycheck. 50% should be spent on that. So groceries, you need to eat that. Car payment, I'll talk about car payments later. Rent, mortgages, I'll talk about that later. But utilities, you physically need that shit to survive. Okay, now savings and debt repayment. So honestly, just don't go into debt in the first place. That's like what I would say. But if you have like credit card loans, you probably shouldn't get into that because they have an absurd amount of interest, around 20-30% for just the payment itself, the interest itself. So don't go into credit card debt. That is very stupid. Don't do that shit. 20% savings and debt repayment, that means like your emergency fund, which essentially is like if all hell breaks loose, you use your emergency fund to pay off your fixed expenses. Your emergency fund usually should be 3 to 6 months, but some people like to have 6 to 12. Have an emergency fund just in case you get like laid off or fired or whatever happens in the economy. Make sure you have an emergency fund. Student loans, I assume most of you guys have your college paid by your parents, or if it's not, you have like a few $1,000s in student loans, you have to pay that off. I would really just consider student loans and credit card debt into like fixed expenses because you don't want to get into this shit in the first place. Like, please do not get into credit card debt. Please do not have student loans. I know a lot of you guys may have student loans, whether that be 10, 20,000, 40,000. I'm not going to blame you or anything because I'm personally going to join the army. They pay for this for me, but for the most people who aren't doing that, pay this shit off because your credit card debt compounds. So it's 20 this month and you pay it off and then it's going to be 20. It doesn't compound, but it's 20% of the initial payment. And if you don't pay your credit card debt, if you don't pay off your student loans, you don't pay off your car payment, your mortgage and shit, you're not going to be able to afford utilities, groceries, and other stuff just because you're paying off your credit card debt and your student loans. Okay, anyways, 20% should be going towards your retirement, so that means like your 401ks, your 403bs, your TSPs for me, which is in the military. It's a retirement account. What else is there? There's Roth IRA, there's backdoor IRAs, there's traditional IRAs, there's traditional 401ks, there's a lot of retirement accounts. Now, me personally, I don't really like the idea of a retirement account because you're kind of just, yeah, it's a long story, but there are better investments out there. Me personally, I do invest in certain companies that I think will do well. Not saying that I gain every time, but I have made substantial gains in the past, especially with defense stocks and energy stocks. A lot of government contracted companies I do make a good return on. And also ETFs and whatnot, but that's a whole separate video and it's not in the scope of what we're talking about today. And 30% is like flexible spending, so like shit that you don't really need. Like I'm talking about going out to eat, clothes, entertainment. So I'm talking about like going to the movies, going on a camping trip, literally going to a birthday party, buying people gifts. Like 30% should go to that. Obviously traveling, like if you want to go to Europe, Asia, the Middle East, African countries, literally, anywhere in the Americas, you should consider traveling. Now, I will say that as you're young, you should be spending, I would say, like maybe 30, so it should be like 30% should be your savings and debt repayment. And again, I would just consider credit card debt and student loans as part of fixed expenses, right? So emergency fund, retirement account, that goes towards fixed expenses, and then all of this I would consider that as like 35. I should earn like 25, 25, 40, 40, 10. Really depends on how quick you want to retire, because I personally don't want to work until I'm 62 or 65 to collect my pension from the government and the whatchamacallit, I forgot what it's called. Social Security, yeah, the fucking Social Security. I don't want to pay that shit. Wait until I'm that old. So, if you're pretty aggressive and you want to have fun, but also like you want to like pay off your stuff and retire early, I would consider putting more money into your savings and like investments. I wouldn't even say debt repayment. Debt repayment should be in fixed expenses. And flexible spending, it's really up to you. Just spend it on, like, go ham, right? You should have a budget, because if you're doing too much on debt repayment and savings and fixed expenses, you're gonna have no fun. But you have too much fun, like, spending it on stupid shit. Like, obviously, I buy Pokemon cards. I buy a lot of different things that are very stupid and very, like, stuff that I don't actually need, but I want. Like, if you spend more on that, you're gonna, like, retire later. If you spend a lot on this stuff right here, then you're gonna retire quicker. That's just. Anyways, that's the video for today. I'm just gonna be doing a quick one about budgeting, because it is very, very important, especially with Gen Z getting into credit card debt. Like, I believe the average credit card debt in the United States is 2 to 3,000, when Gen Z being like 6 to 8,000, something like that. Especially with the rise of like American Platinum, Gold, Express, like, I don't know. There's different credit cards. That's a whole different video. For today, just focus on paying the debt repayment, fixed expenses and stuff, and then saving up for investments, and then obviously flexible spending. So me personally, I'm doing more of like a 50, 25, 25, or some people do a 70, 20, 10. It's really up to you on how quick you want to retire, and yeah, that's it. I hope you learned something. You probably did. If you did learn something, then just like and sub. I really don't care if you like and sub, because this is just for the sake of just getting it out there, because some people have been asking me how to budget correctly. Anyways.